This episode is exciting and I think you will like it. And by the way, a very important warning in the last video. I hope you can continue the video for the next one and start with Dr. Khaled Montaser, who published the picture's date, and this news is from Ermi News. Controversy after the Zamalek player celebrated prostration. And the mixed 1911 Zamalek players. She said and began to prostrate. My daughter, it is no use for you to prostrate with your hair and your two legs between you. We are clear at the end of time, literally, and everything remained okay. On the contrary, I wish there would be a respectable decision from the Football Association to completely cancel women's football, Dr. Khaled Montaser commented and wrote. The Zamalek player prostrated on the field miserably. Disaster. Egypt is upside down. Anger pervades Gardet. Her photos were deleted from all websites. Demands to cancel women's football from Egypt. We are a people who prostrate players and do not prostrate our female players. Aren't we honored? It is forbidden to prostrate in the stadium on holidays of books. I thought of you today, doctor. I was communicating with a foreign friend and we were supposed to. We visited Egypt last December with a group of around 12 American doctors from various specialties. But unfortunately, the trip was cancelled due to security personnel in Alexandria killing of 2 foreign tourists. As a result of this action, everyone said their trips, and all tourists in the world reacted to that. Egypt lost a lot of individual action, but it exists in the thought of society and it may be done. Exploit anytime, any place with anyone. This thought, which unfortunately is not devoid of an Egyptian field or institution, makes Egypt bleed and lose a lot. These doctors were supposed to visit Egypt, meet with Egyptian doctors, and exchange their experiences and knowledge for the benefit of Egyptians, but unfortunately some Egyptians see others as enemies and infidels. By the way, I was one of the people who helped bring the drug Sovaldi, which treated Egyptians from hepatitis C to Egypt through a doctor who had completed graduate studies at the University of Florida, and they were part of the scientific research team with Dr. Raymond Schnatzi. Greetings, Ahmed. He wrote, I am one who has lived on the planet for a long time, from the days before prostration, and things were normal. We pray and celebrate Ramadan and worship our Lord, and prostration is in prayer, not on football fields. With the mind like this, a player scores a goal and is at the peak of emotion. Adrenaline is coming out of Dana. Bearing good. And after the penalty kicks, the Sabud and Apple approached the field. After missing penalty kicks, drinking water on one knee, Nermin Rada. Even if a player does not prostrate, he remains a stray man. He must work like his teammates. Ahmed Nabi wrote that this is wrong and that they are free. Is a fatwa necessary? How old are you? Have you seen anyone praying in a street or public place? Raid asked in his publications. Doctor, do you ease the alienation and fatigue? It makes me feel that I made the right decision if he leaves Egypt. Shireen wrote the science. I was confused. Is this an insult to women or for the man who is unable to control his instincts? Abu Samra is a writer. How? Missed. This shot. Can we rematch, Captain? On the other hand, Dr. Khaled Montaser also published this news, which is from the Constitution. A wife was assaulted and had her hair cut by her husband in Aguza. This incident happened on Tuesday, October 15, 2024, according to the news reports. He justifies what he did by saying that she went live with her hair on TikTok, and the accused said his confessions before the prosecution. He laughed at me by going live with her hair on TikTok, explaining that he was a mourner and that his wife was used to making live broadcasts and video clips and appearing with her hair without a hijab and did not listen to his warnings, so he decided to discipline her and cut her hair. Dr. Khaled Montaser on this news. What did he write about poetry with his goodness? They're a healthy couple, his wife. He cut her hair with a white weapon because she appeared in Live with her hair a nation fighting to put it out. Hair phobia is a disease unique only to us. Without a care in the universe, it is women's hair. What does it mean for us to breathe? I wish I could understand the secret of this enmity, and that hysteria from a few locks of hair that causes the structures of a man who gets tempted, agitated, and irritated by a lock of hair like him, like the one who gets irritated by a boot cap thrown in the cupboard, or fillet syrup put in the washing machine, or jaunty for Nikan's smile. In comments, Dr. Khaled Montaser published this unfortunate picture. Sheikh Abu al-Iman al-Mabruk also published it. He wrote thinking that winter is coming. It is not permissible to turn on the heater in winter because it is seeking help from other than God. The believer must face the bitter cold with patience, solace, and the strength of faith. May God bless you. I asked him to come to us in Siberia to live without payment with the help of God, but he has not yet responded. Ahmed Shams responded to Dr. Khaled Montaser and said to me, "Do you not see that it is an account of you? Finished? There is no consideration of you back like some of your followers." Georgie responded to him and told him, "No, not in you." I've been following for years. This is hilarious. A camellia wrote, "What's the ruling on the fan, forbidden or permissible?" Dr. Khaled Montaser, this post is for Balto from the Galala bus accident, and someone wrote this for Balto from the Galala bus accident, and its owner passed away. When I first saw the picture, nothing but Dr. Hazem Showman came to mind when he said that the certificate is a medical certificate, meaning the certificate that you want to take. Can you die before you make a penny from it? Where in the grave and on Dr. Khaled Montaser he wrote the height of blackness, harshness of feeling, and arrogance. These people have nothing but the goods of horror, dismay, and intimidation. Majid wrote that if the deceased had been a worker or farmer, he would have said the same about him. Did he mean it? He doesn't attend university to become a doctor, or does he want to treat people? Egyptian copying. Mina Mina commented on the topic of the man who dragged his wife and cut her hair. He wrote, "Oh, mishap to his wife while he was at ease, so Nermin tied it to him. She said, yes, they are reassured that she will not be able to take off the hijab. Muhammad wrote that she does not begin to show her hair, and after that gradually other things become apparent." Bint Sidi al-Arifin, and you don't live with us, or what? Do you see with your eyes or your sight twice from thinking and looking at them too much? Uncle Khaled, we like to cover our daughters instead of those who are equal, and those who are not equal prefer to do as you do. Dr. Khaled responded to him and said to him, "May God bless your eminence, and O Lord, we will return like the chest of the Islamic Caliphate, cover our daughters, and return to the slave market again, where they used to stand naked." Believers are disobedient and jump at ease and with all faith. And Taqwa sees that we will write that most of the sins and reproaches occur from veiled men and women because they use the union and the hijab as a shield that protects them and a cover that hides their identity outside the borders of their place of residence and far from anyone who knows them. Why is this private book on the Interior Ministry? She arrests girls who get lifts, and it's a fortress, with the last being a woman and her daughters. The Interior Ministry has no stance on them. Your Honor, in this case, shouldn't you advocate for women's rights? Or is it because the Interior Ministry is turning a blind eye? Are you teaching me about Shenki, my constant? Dr. Khaled replied, "What genius is this? None of them are penned with such strong acumen. Don't be jealous. Dr. Khaled published this. Madha al-Masri's post was written in it. You ask me, how are you going to face God without asking? As if it had reached the crux, the lost cause, the secrets behind disasters and crises that plague the world with hatred, pain, and suffering. As if this act will bring me to paradise without account and forgive all my sins. Well, madam, I will face my Lord with gratitude for the blessing of reason. I will boast before God that I refuse to be a number in a herd or just be a subordinate cancelling her mind. I, madam, am a complete creature. I will boast before God of His creativity in the creation of conscious man. Whether it is remembered or forgotten, God does not look at faces but rather at hearts. Didn't they bring us back when He said, except those who come to God with a sound heart, even those who follow the heritage? Didn't they read in their traces that this alleged hijab was to discriminate between women and nothing else? Even Omar bin al-Khattab used to lift the veil from any activity or activity. Weren't women sold? Nakedness in slave markets, the roughness of the unfree slave? Why? And all women? Didn't the palaces of the kings of the caliphate possess these? I'm not a prick. I am not half human, and I am not lacking in mind or religion. I am a complete creature with all rights and all duties. I will brag about myself when I touch my humanity with a needy, oppressed, or helpless person, and extended a helping hand to him, a hand that did not steal, a heart that did not betray, and a conscience that turns when he makes a mistake. A mind not lost. He did not rush after desires. He did not rush to throw intellectual filth at people. He did not set himself up as a judge. People are also governed by the limit of posting the photo date. Sheikh Abu al-Nain lived with his wife in 1959, at the time of disbelief before Islam entered Egypt, at the hands of the Brotherhood, Wahhabism, and the Book Club. Were our grandmothers and their mothers wrong, and the grandchildren on, and the grandchildren of the world of health? What about the one with the Nermin wig? I wrote the topic, not a topic of condemnation and chastity, but the topic of the accused scandals. Did you expose me? It was as if she was going out naked without clothes. He reached out to his wife and cut her hair because the hijab had become something like customs and traditions and departing from it. Civil scandal. You do not boycott any brand inside Saudi Arabia except for an issue that affects Saudi Arabia, all our branches. It is run by Saudi agents and our people work in it. Do not contribute to cutting off the display of their taste and raise your level of awareness as well as a civil bulletin. Bakr al-Sid's post says, a woman only leaves home 3 times under Sharia law, from her father's house to her husband's house and finally to her grave. A civilian commented on the post, are there 2 of them? Or is he a computer? The time you went out. Al-Rahm also wrote, the Post newspaper Minister of Social Affairs and statesmen calling for birth control must be to confront the economic crisis, raising the age of marriage, requiring financial sufficiency, banning polygamy, forcing the poor to emigrate. This is the light part and the lower part. The clerics say Islamic law. Do not accept birth control. The development of humanity refuses to specify. National consciousness strongly rejects it. Islam calls for many offspring, the call of the powerful. A civilian commented on the news in this newspaper and wrote a picture from an Egyptian newspaper in 1952, the upper half of which talks to you about the inevitability of birth control for the sake of increase. The population has been catastrophic for 70 years and the state is talking about this issue. At that time, our census was not complete, 20,000. Statesmen tell you, confirming this is the lower half of the news, and clerics tell you no. It is forbidden and they take advantage of a little grape talk about human development, national awareness, and Islam's call to break the offspring, and breaking the offspring of children is the call of the strong in nature on the ground. Do you know who? The one who won in the end and also knows the situation we have reached. Who is responsible for it? And do you know what's wrong? This national awareness, human development, and all this talk was incorrect, and I can see the result for myself. Also, you know that the words of the lower half of the page triumphed because he raised the sword of religion, and whoever disagrees with him will remain an infidel, and the enemy of Islam with falsehood is more than true, because Islamic countries, such as organizing the family, are normal. The whole issue is Egyptian rural thought and culture from the agricultural environments that are the main rejectors of students, Al-Azhar and this culture. I'm used to the succession being so sweet. They are not working on the land and helping their families. He is still a little aware of what he understands. This is possible, but in the days of irrigation in the shade, and you do not need intelligence either. You know who said what was correct and who would have changed the action of the future of the country if it were implemented, and who said what. We have reached water poverty from the 1990s, and in other sayings from the 1980s. Now, the citizen who walks behind the bottom half of the page is cursing statesmen. The ones that are on the top half of the page and tell you how the country is. What is its population? 1,000,000 remains better than a country with a population of 100,000. Proficiency means that it is not in kilos, professor. This number is not worth it. We are not in eras before the invention of the machine. Sir, you are holding the words of the upper half of the page against the words of the lower half. Of it, if you were fair, you would have held accountable those who laughed at you in the first place. My customers are black on what he told you throughout these contracts. You are doing wrong. Of course, it is easy and strong. I agree with you that it was the duty of the state to talk about betrayal and the force of the law. But the problem is, who enforces the law? What is a rural citizen with the rank of sergeant or soldier with the same thought? You would have started a war of infidelity against all the state leaders who were fighting Islam, and you would have found some of them silent. Thank God if you were exposed to any crisis or setback, but instead there would have been 1 or 10 left. It would have become an entire institution. One of the factors is the same surprised citizen who decided with himself to call it wealth, and you are disappointed. You do not know how to exploit me well and act like China, in parentheses. I mean, the one who forced its people to have 1 child from the 70s, but he kept it like that. So take advantage of it, teacher, and let your children bring you wealth. No, I am inside with you, the company in this country with sperm only. There is no invitation to think and speak. This big picture and the picture were published by Professor Rashad Hamed. What do you think? Join us in the comments, and let's see the dangerous warning. This is a good evening for you, Lord. Alright, there are many scams happening right now. So keep in mind, you will find people offering cameras, mobile phones, or laptops at prices much lower than their real prices. In order to covet people, the issue begins when you find someone offering something at the price of a point from a distant governorate, convincing you that this is a store and it has shipping. Then of course you are encouraged to ask, and he will tell you to send me any deposit. And even if you are going to buy something whose price is like 20,000, you say it is normal if you sell something like 500 or 1,000 pounds. It will not make any difference, and he does. The deposit will make no difference to him, and he tells you that he will ship you the next day, and the world is honey. Where is Turkey? All of Turkey. The second day? When he sends you, he tells you why you spoke. You tell him no. He tells you, well, his number is his. Call him, and you call the representative. You tell him in so-and-so name, and he tells you no. This is in the name of another customer, and he is supposed to receive it now. So you go back to the person you asked for the order. He tells you that the origin of a mistake happened, and my colleague booked the person in the name of someone else. And he tells you, but I can move the representative to you if you send me the rest of the price of the device. Now I will send you a picture of my potato and the commercial register to reassure you. Here you will not want the opportunity to be lost from you, and you will follow the rest of the money so that the other person will not scratch the device before you, and you will catch up with the opportunity. And of course, he will send a fake card and a fake record, and your money will be lost, Saber. Please be careful of swindlers so that people will be greedy and ignore them. Share this post and mention it to your loved ones. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to receive everything new, and share with us with comments. Thanks to all the fans and followers. Thank you.